And I'm going to start with the biggest one, where it was number 3 Clemson facing the 5th ranked team in the Georgia Bulldogs. And I got to go ahead and tell you, Coty, when I was watching this football game, right, I'm looking at Clemson's offense. And I don't think I've ever been as disgusted as I ever been in my life watching Clemson play offensive football than I was watching that football game, because it looked like the game plan was vanilla. There were so many dropbacks for DJ Uiagalelei, and the Clemson Tigers offensive line couldn't even block the guys up front. So I thought at some point they should have made adjustments and just let me get the football out of this man's hand, because this pass rush is really, really serious, right? Those offensive linemen for Clemson didn't stand a chance against that pass rush. And we even talked about that in last week's show, that the defensive lines in both of these groups, and it was a defensive game, but offensively, I didn't think Clemson was there. They definitely weren't the most physical team. And you mentioned the slot receiver position, Coty, last week. That is one of the things that was missing very so much for the Clemson offense, because you're used to seeing a little shifty guy in that slot, being able to beat that man coverage and that aggressive press coverage. We didn't see that. And then I also brought up that I think the only position on the Clemson offense that had a deficiency was the running back position. And we seen how vital Travis Etienne not being there hurt that Clemson team, because they weren't even able to rush the football. So from your point of view, what do you think about those things, like the Clemson offense and how they performed?
Piggybacking off what you said, it was the most frustrating game I've watched as a Clemson fan in a long time, probably since 2010. My last year was 2011, and that was when Chad Morris ushered in this new spread, fast-paced offense that Clemson has been running the last 10 years. But what was really frustrating was the fact that they gave up on the run so early.
Mm-hmm.
They only had 9 rushes. They rushed for 2 yards. You're not going to beat anybody with those numbers. And for as great as Georgia's D-line is, and they will continue to be, I would have loved to see Clemson's offensive coordinator, and hell, even the quarterback, be like, listen, this drop back passing, this 5-step passing isn't working. Let me check out of this and run the ball. I don't know if he has that ability or that type of clout with his coaches, but there definitely should have been a change made. And mentioning the slot receiver, I mentioned Spectre, number 13, last week as somebody to watch for. And I lied to you not. The following day after we recorded the podcast, I seen on his Instagram that he was dealing with issues from COVID, and he was out for a certain amount of time. And I don't think they know how long that's going to be. And as great as Justin Ross and Nagata and Frank Latson Jr. are, those guys aren't slot guys. And they had a tough time working in that short area space. I mean, hell, the only touchdown of the game, the pick 6, came from Justin Ross in the slot and the guy stepping in front of him and taking the slant back for 60 or however many yards it was.
Let me harp on that really quick, because I'm glad you brought that up. So I'm trying to, when I talk to a lot of guys that's at the college level, I'm trying to get them to understand the game of football a little bit more better, right? And when it comes to quarterback and wide receiver, and it comes to communicating with one another, right? When I watched the play, right, the DB already aligned 1.5 yards inside of that receiver, right? So right then, if I'm Ross and I know I have a slant route, I know I can't run my slant route the normal way. I'm going to run my route. I'm going to push up, and instead of pushing up 5 or 6 and going at an angle, I'm pushing up 5 and 6 and coming like an under route, so I could come flat, so that DB can't cut across my face. Because pre-snap reads, if you're looking at all the receivers across the board, told you that they were in man coverage, right? Pre-snap reads told you that these defensive backs are playing inside. And you even seen the DB even jumping it before the ball was let go. Now, from a quarterback's perspective, when I look at that, okay, I understand that this DB is 1.5 yards inside of this receiver. I can't lead him on that slant. I got to put that on his back hip. You see what I'm saying? That's where communication, and that's what probably wasn't the first time they seen that lining up. So while they go to the sidelines, that's the opportunity to have that communication. Hey, what are you guys seeing? hey, they're playing inside leverage on here. Let's hit them with we're going to hit them thinking we're going to go with a slant. Then we're going to go to return route. You're right. Things like that. Or if I'm going to run this slant, hey, QB, I'm coming in flat. So he don't jump in and pick it off. And that was the difference in the game, that pick six. Didn't mean to cut you off. I just want to explain to people. I want people to understand in those situations, things that could have transpired, the communication, how important it is for receiver and quarterback, right? Quarterbacks understanding the leverage of DBs, pre-snap read, and things of that nature. And then Justin Ross, the last thing I'm going to say, that guy picked that ball off. Your ass better be chasing that guy to go take him down.
Absolutely.
Right? I don't give a damn if you know he's finna score. I need you to head that way. I need you to head that way to go make it look like you're trying to go get him, even though you're not going to catch him. But go ahead, my brother. My bad.
Speaking on that, as a DB, when we get a interception, every week in practice, we do a turnover drill. Mm-hmm. Whoever intercepts the ball, somebody else on that defense, the first person you go pick up is the intended receiver. Because if you look at the history of the game, most of the time, the guy who the ball is being intended for ends up coming back, making the tackle, or either stripping the defender and forcing a turnover. I don't even think anybody picked him up. But even before the guy picked it off, the defensive back didn't drive as hard as he could have. He was kind of hesitant.
He was
kind of hesitant, like, do I see what I believe? Do I believe what I see? Is it really happening? And I would have liked to seen Ross attack the ball more. It's kind of like it's kind of like everybody was hesitant and he kind of just let the guy step in front of him. But Georgia played a hell of a game. Their D-line took over. Their linebackers took over. I would have liked to see more from Clemson on offense. I was very impressed with what I seen from Clemson on defense, from the defensive line all the way to the secondary. And I'm going to tell you one thing. That number one for Clemson from Austin, Texas, the true freshman that was thrown into the fire because of Nolan Turner, number 24, not being available, he is the real damn deal. And he will be one of the best safeties in the country, not only this year, but the next 2-3 years, however long he's at Clemson.